Hello, welcome back. Here we have another charging port job. It's quite a broken up charging port. So the thing we do, inspect it under the microscope or visual. In this case it's pretty obvious that it's broken. Next step is to disassemble the phone and get the charging board out. After we've disassembled the board, took off the board, we can see the red adhesive there. We can take that one off with 190 air, max airflow, I don't know, whatever, 60 airflow, it doesn't really matter. It's pretty hard, it's an epoxy resin. And underneath that we can see the pins. You have to make sure that you take all of the red resin off to make the taking off of the charging port easier. Now we switch to 360 heat, 60 air, and we take off the charging port. Now we use low melt solder to mix with the unleaded, and we scrape off the remaining epoxy. Now using some wick. This is not good wick or any of that. Is Chem wick from Chemtronics. It's a very good wick. We clean up with IPA. And usually you can replace the whole board, but when you don't have it, it's good to have a stock of only the ports at hand. Here we install the new port, which fits perfectly since it's the same model. You just have to tack in one leg, then align it and take the other side to hold it in place for good. Don't put too much solder or you'll have problems feeding it into the case. Then you have to solder the pins. In order not to have bridges like that, you actually have to use flux, and if you have extra and you just can't get it off, you can use some wick and take it off. Here I think we had a customer. Okay, back to the port. So here I'm trying only with flux, but I don't think it's gonna work, so I have to use some wick. Just like very little. Don't exaggerate with the solder on the pins, because the only parts that are making contact with the board are the sides and the back. If you put a lot of solder on top of the pin, that's not gonna do anything good for the soldering. It's just gonna look weird. That's the reason why from factory is not a lot of solder on the pins. Here we heat up the board a little bit to be able to liquefy the flux and clean it better. look good. Always clean your joints, don't leave the flux even if it's clean flux and stuff like that. Just clean it up. It's gonna take a few minutes and it's gonna look way better. Check every pin. Assembling back the phone. We have red light, but it took a while until the battery came up to 3.7, so it shows 0.1%. But at this point I was fairly confident that the job's done, so since I've done it so many times, most of the time when you have a red light there, it's pretty much job done. So I assembled the phone. That's our supercharger cable with the duct tape and heat shrink and whatever you want. That cable's in more phones than you could imagine, and it's still working. So after a while we managed to have a 3% charge. So here is where, under the microscope, the old charging port compared with the new one that we put on. So that's the broken plastic around the pins. The pins sit on a piece of plastic, they are melted somehow in plastic. When that plastic breaks, the pin remains like that, the best case scenario, or they short out or something. So here's a comparison with the good charging port, the new one. So this would be the new charging port. And that's the old one. So thanks for watching, and if it helped you in any way, I would like to know, and we'll make some more in the future. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.